Welcome, everybody. Sorry for the late start, but we are here better than ever. I'm Token. He is Hobbs. You're listening to the Token and Hobbs show live on a Tuesday night. Welcome, freedom lovers, to the best show in Liberty Land there is. Welcome, Hobbs. How's your week been, man?
Oh, it's been busy. It's been not busy. It's been a little bit mix of both.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I guess that can be good or that could be bad, but we've had a hell of a week of news to report on. I gotta say, the most fun thing that has happened this weekend was seeing the entire Twitterverse just taking a shit all over the ATF for a tweet they sent out this weekend. Did you see this, Hobbs?
Oh yeah, I'm not on the twatter, but I have seen the memes pop up on Instagram and Facebook, and it's like, when will you mongoloids learn your lesson that nobody feels sorry for you because of that?
Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, the ATF on the anniversary of the Waco massacre sent out a tweet to commemorate the fallen ATF officers who died in the attempt to murder innocent men, women, and children. And the internet felt that it was their duty to remind the ATF why those agents had died and what they had done, and to let them know that we felt no amount of sympathy for the agency or its agents for their part in a mass murder of innocent people. So good job, ATF. You done played yourself.
Yep, you played.
Yeah, they just...
I don't know if it's still on Netflix or not, but it would be a good time to go and rewatch that Waco documentary that came out this time last year. My favorite, not favorite part, but probably the one that's most true to life is when the agents first decided to storm the compound. The first thing they did was peek over a fence and shoot a dog. First shots of the Waco siege was shooting a dog, and I'm just like, bravo, filmmakers! You've truly encapsulated what it means to be an ATF agent.
Well, I mean, that's law enforcement in general, not just ATF. Law enforcement in general, they just love shooting your dogs.
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it's a great show, and it's a great reminder why libertarians distrust government so much, and why we tend to hate this organization that we all call the federal government and its multiple ABC agencies who all in their own way want to make your life miserable. It's a great reminder, and then the most unrealistic part of that show is that at the end of it, when they have finished, burning all these children to death, there's these series of reaction scenes where all the various federal agents are like, "Oh no, oh, I'm so sad. Look at what we did." In real life, you can go online and find these. Agents were taking pictures over the charred remains of the dead bodies in that compound.
Yep, standing there with their hero shots with the ATF flag up on the flagpole, and
yeah, they're standing in the charred remains of the building, and then you realize there's dead bodies under that rubble. Like, you're standing on the graves of children, and you're taking a hero shot of yourself. Like, how do you think that's a good idea? Like, forget just the morals of it. How on earth are you stupid enough to think that anyone's going to look at that picture and say, "Yes, sir, I salute the ATF. Good on you."
Yep, they rocketed right past stunning and went into brave territory.
Yeah, and to see it so many years later. How long ago was Waco at this point? I don't remember what year it happened, but it was such a long time ago. And the ATF poking the hornet's nest. You know what I think it is? I think they're just dotting down names of everybody who's commenting on that tweet. Like, yep, this guy, this guy, this guy. All right, we got the year's list of investigation, guys. Get out there and make us proud.
They give a whole circuit of federal judges carpal tunnels from signing all of those no-knock search warrants.
Yeah, you got to get those red flag laws in the books now, so we can go out there and make sure that all these mean Twitter fellows get what's coming to them for not respecting the fallen officers of the ATF. And it's kind of funny how back and forth a lot of people go when it comes to police officers, because there's a lot of conservatives out there, a lot of back the blue, thin blue line guys out there. We're like, wow, fuck the ATF for that. They're like, yeah. You're finally starting to get it, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, it's a lot to do with the internet bringing the truth to light and coloring, historical events under a different light is, that's a lot of the reason why a lot of these back the blue type people are starting to take a step back from that, because libertarians have been memeing forever about, all the people who fly the thin blue line over their "Don't Tread on Me" flag, and it's like,
oh boy,
you do know who's going to come and take it, right? And there a lot of these died in the starting to kind of get the point now that, oh yeah, it's that thin blue line that's going to kick down. Obama and Biden aren't going to kit up in SWAT gear and come to my front door. It's gonna be local law enforcement or the feds.
Yeah, they have this image in their heads of some black clad Antifa dudes going door to door taking your guns. It's like, nah, man, that's not it. When tyranny comes knocking on your door, it's gonna be wearing the uniform of a cop or a soldier, right? So
Yep.
it does not behoove you to worship either of those. If you're one of these Second Amendment, take it from my cold dead hands type dudes, right? Because if you really mean that, if you really mean to resist tyranny, if it comes knocking on your door, you're not going to be fighting some soy boy Antifa guy, right? It's not going to be Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer knocking on our door, as Hobbs said. It's going to be a cop or it's going to be a soldier.
Yep.
And what your reaction to that is depends on your mindset towards those organizations to begin with, right? Do you look at cops as holding back the irresistible tides of anarchy, or do you see them as the enforcement arm of the government?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Are they the sheepdogs holding the wolves at bay? Or are they merely the yes men of the federal government?
Yep.
What is your mindset? What is your mindset of what police are? That's going to determine how you react to tyranny knocking on your door. And I gotta say, a lot of conservatives fail this test entirely.
Right. However, one of the things that libertarians seem to fail is that all cops are bastards attitude, which is teed to make it so that when that order comes down to confiscate guns or go on no-knock raids or anything, they are going to come to your house and they are going to enjoy every second of doing it, right up until you decide to open fire on them, that is.
Now, kid
in Minecraft, of course. So it would behoove you now, if you're one of those people, to, on one hand, not worship cops and the military, but on the same token, don't antagonize and make an enemy of them. It would probably be a good idea to make friends with your local law enforcement if you live in a sufficiently small-sized town or city, or your local sheriff. Get to know them. Tell them where you stand on things like Second Amendment, gun confiscation, and even the other rights too, like free speech and the illegal searches and seizures and things like that. Get on the same page as these people. That way, when the order comes down to, hey, go knock on doors, go confiscate guns, do whatever, your local sheriff is going to be forearmed with the knowledge that he is perfectly within his legal right and duties to tell the federal government to fuck right off.
Now, can we split the difference and say all ATF agents are bastards?
I think we can. I think we can agree on that one.
Because even for anarchistic libertarians, there's still a concession that some kind of law enforcement is indeed necessary for society to function. Right? Even anarchists will admit that, and they'll say that it needs to be privatized, but there still needs to be some kind of security / law enforcement apparatus in existence. No libertarian is going to say that the ATF needs to exist.
No.
No.
More often than not, when you have somebody who joins like a local law enforcement or their hometown sheriff or whatever, those types of people, they tend to want to get into it for all of the right reasons.
Sometimes there's a lot of fucking morons
Yeah.
who love the power trip.
Right, yeah, but I tend to err on the side of those people want to do it for the right reasons, even if they get mixed up in some not good behavior. However, anybody who willingly
they end up writing me a ticket, so I'm like, okay, benefit of the doubt gone.
Yeah, but anybody who willingly joins the ATF, you know what kind of an organization that is. You know what it is that they do. You go out there and you willingly join that organization, and I have no respect for you.
No, absolutely not. And the federal agencies like that tend to attract the statiest of statists. So
yeah,
you're typically not getting the guy that the hometown boy that just wants to serve his community. You're typically not getting that guy at the ATF. You're getting the guy that wants to shoot your dog. You're getting the guy that looks at what those dudes in Waco did and says, yeah, you know what? Those Branch Davidians were wackos and they got what they deserved. That's typically who you're getting at the ATF.
Yeah, even if they do have access to all of what really went down, they're still the types of people that'll be like, yeah, fuck them. Oh, they disobeyed the law.
Oh, yeah, disobeying the law is such a horrible thing. For a libertarian, hearing that argument is like, ugh. But who cares? Like, they disobeyed the law. Yeah, that's right. That's why you went in there and you murdered dozens of kids. Mm-hmm. Big man, there you are right there. But here's the thing about it. There's going to be a renewed push for gun confiscation and gun control in this country in the coming years. And it's so frustrating to see organizations like the NRA fall completely on their faces when it comes to this issue. When this last year should be the best argument possible for why the Second Amendment is valuable and necessary.
Yep.
We saw a spike in gun ownership this last year like nothing before. Because at the same time, you had government locking people away in their houses. You had government releasing criminals from jail. You had government failing or refusing to arrest people for violent acts, right? Like straight up telling you, we will not protect you if this X, Y, and Z violent acts are done to you, all because of the COVID crisis, which only necessitates individuals to protect themselves. Right. And on top of that, you had an entire year's worth of riots. And guess what? Spring's coming. You know what that means? Riot season's back. Because when it gets cold, the riots disappear. But once that weather warms up again, the riots come back. People don't want to fucking protest and riot when it's -10 outside. Right? Nobody wants to do that except the most dedicated people. Like they were still protesting, I think, in Seattle, where they were piling snow up in front of police stations so they couldn't get out. But overall, those kind of things come to an end when the temperature goes down. And now the temperature is going up, you're going to see riots again, right? Yep. You put all this together in the year that 2020 was, and you saw an enormous spike in gun ownership. So the push by Democrats now to put more gun control legislation on the table should be the easiest thing to smack down. Because if this country is ever ready to repeal gun control laws. It should be now. And yet, what's the argument I see from the NRA? I said, what's that? What's the guy that runs the NRA? Some French name.
LaPierre, that piece of shit. I don't know how that guy keeps getting. I don't know how that guy keeps getting reelected.
Oh, you know exactly how. It's because the NRA is made up of a bunch of boomers and fuds who think that this guy is actually making coherent arguments. So he gets up on the stage at CPAC and he makes the argument, the brilliant argument, that, hey, we don't need more gun control laws, guys. All we need to do is enforce the gun control laws that are on the books now, and everything will be fine. I don't understand how this guy thinks that is a winning argument at all. Yeah. It is ridiculous on its face, because what he is doing is telling everybody, hey, gun control works, but only the exact amount of gun control we currently have. That's what he's saying. Yep. He doesn't seem to realize, hey, that's a loser's argument. You're conceding the whole thing. You're telling gun grabbers, yeah, gun control works, but you're just saying, oh, we could just stop where we're at right now. They're not going to stop where we're at right now. That's where they're pushing more. What are you going to say when they push more? Like, oh, no, now we're good. And they just keep pushing you back. And because you're a boomer FUD, you don't understand what they're doing. You think that they're coming from a place of good faith. You think that they just want to keep people safe. They just want to keep schools from being shot up and mass shootings from happening. You think that that's what's motivating them. That's not what's motivating them. What's motivating them is a desire to disarm the American people the way they're disarmed in Canada, in England, in Australia, and cow this population. They don't want people in this country to be able to defend themselves from the ATF when they come rolling into your church and trying to burn your children alive.
Yep. And longest time that was an argument that the NRA and you know, I even used it myself for the longest time too. It was just like, hey, you know, we don't need more gun laws. 1,000 on the book. Why don't you just enforce the ones that we already have? The thing about the NRA is that they're always strictly a defensive organization. They always want to hold the line against further gun control, you know, and then the steamroller of gun control comes and hits their shield wall and pushes them back a step. They never push back. They never realize that it is in the current political climate, with the internet telling people or allowing people to go back and research what the Second Amendment originally was intended for. Now that they know that it's not for hunting, it's not for defense of your home against a burglar or out on the street or anything, it is to government when they overstep their bounds. Now that people know that, the message that would resonate with the NRA members the most would be, we're not holding the line, we're pushing back. You see this law over here? We're fighting it. We're going to repeal it. It's on the books now. We're going to get it repealed. The NRA, for as long as I have been paying attention to what they say, is they are always looking for new laws or new bills being federal level and saying, give us money so we can hire a team of lawyers to go and testify against this to keep this from being passed. But they never say, this bill that's on the books or this law that's on the books already needs to go away. Give us money so that we can litigate against it. I've never seen them do that. Groups like Gun Owners of America and the Firearms Policy Coalition and Judicial Watch to a lesser extent. They're more of a broad judicial thing, but yeah, definitely the Firearms Policy Coalition and Gun Owners of America are the ones that push back and try to repeal laws that are always on the books.
The NRA uses gun control the way the Republican Party in general uses abortion. They use it as a wedge issue in order to get their donors out to give them money.
Bingo.
And the NRA never pushes back on gun control. The NRA doesn't have coherent logical arguments against gun control. The NRA is not, I wish the NRA was what gun grabbers think they are, right? But the NRA is afraid of what gun grabbers and gun control activists say about them. Their concern is that they keep getting invited to the cocktail parties and that they are allowed in polite society. They are afraid of being labeled child killers and murderers and this and that and that and this. They're afraid of that kind of stuff. It's not because it's true. It's a bold-faced, idiotic lie to accuse the NRA of murdering anybody, but they're afraid of the accusation anyway because they don't want to be exiled from polite society. They want to be that moderate gun activist group.
Yep.
That's what they want to do. And they inspire their boomer donor base by pretending to be what they're not. Like, guys, we're going to hold the line and defend the Second Amendment. And then Donald Trump comes out and starts proposing red flag laws. And what does the NRA do? Thanks, Donald Trump. I love it.
Yeah. If you take a look at some of the spending reports that got the NRA in a lot of trouble recently, Wayne LaPierre and his crew, they're not afraid of not being invited to the cocktail parties anymore. They're hosting them with full service catering and everything. Man, this guy's spending his donor base's bucks on a lavish lifestyle for himself. I think that he bought himself a mansion, bought himself a new car, got himself a wardrobe full of tailored suits. That
he needs that stuff, right? He's the head of the NRA.
Yeah, sure.
Like, this guy probably owns a shotgun and that's it. I'm reading some of the comments. SB Tripod says, can you please release a t-shirt that says ATF agents are the statiest of the statists? That's actually not a bad idea.
Yeah. We're still trying to get Clown World Stunning and Brave on the line, too.
Get on that, producer Ben. What are you doing?
That one needs to happen.
ATF agents, they are indeed the statiest of the statiest. And the NRA is the most worthless Second Amendment organization in existence, bar none. At least that I've ever heard of.
I wouldn't say they're worthless. They catch a lot of flack, and that allows smaller, more nimble, like GOA and Firearms Policy Coalition to put in the real work, So NRA is like a big, slow battleship out on the sea. It's a huge target that can't necessarily do anything against the incoming aircraft because battleships are obsolete now. But while the aircraft are zeroing in on that big floating target out there, the little cruisers and destroyers are out there putting in the work.
Yeah, that's actually a good analogy. It's like it's a big, worthless target that just draws fire.
Yep. It's obsolete. It's old technology, but it's got thick armor plating that will just take an enormous amount of punishment, and it soaks up all the firepower while the real people doing the work can put in the work.
Right, and like the NRA, a battleship is usually captained by like the most senior officer, whereas the destroyers and cruisers usually get those young but true believers running the ship, right?
Yep.
So that's what the NRA is. It's just soaking up flack. They're this big, hulking, worthless thing that for some reason all the leftists just think that the NRA is the Second Amendment. Like, oh yeah, the NRA. Without the NRA, we'd have full gun confiscation tomorrow. Like, oh, okay.
Keep on believing that. Just keep on throwing all your machine gun fire and all of your torpedoes at that battleship.
Yeah, it's freaking hilarious. Leftists hate the NRA because they think the NRA is some radical pro-gun organization, and gun people hate them because they're not.
Yeah. And it's really ironic that in the last 2 years, gun owners have done more to sink the NRA than the left has done in the last 40 years.
Yeah, the left can't sink the NRA. Friggin' true believers in gun rights are going to sink the NRA. Anyway, speaking of CPAC, did you see this picture of a golden statue of Donald Trump at this place?
Yeah, it's like wearing American flag boxers and carrying a magic wand, and I I hope that whoever brought that eyesore was just like a Trump fanatic group, but it also would not surprise me if Trump himself brought that.
I bet Trump took one look at that thing, is like, I need this in the lobby of every hotel.
It'll be like the cigar store Indian, only it'll be like a golden Trump with a little magic wand in front of every Trump hotel. The big golden Trump in the American flag boxers.
I mean, a lot of people have been making the comparison to the golden calf from the Moses story. And you know what? Yeah, it is kind of like that, isn't it? Like, you literally have a golden idol that you bring out to this conservative convention. There's a bunch of freaking evangelicals and religious types at this place. And you got a golden statue of the former president of the United States that you're just freaking taking pictures with and bowing down to. It's like, wow, man, do you really not see how cringy this is? Like, we all know the left is cringy. We all know that. But this is a level of cringe I've not seen from the right for a while. And I am taking into account the January 6th riots, because, you know, as cringy as the cause may have been, the act was not cringy at all.
Yeah, and I want to hope that this was like something that maybe he or his supporters did, where he can roll it out there and it was in like an ironic, cringy thing where it's like, let's see the left's head explode over this one. Let's roll this golden calf of Trump out there and make it look ridiculous with the American flag boxer shorts and the magic wand for some fucking reason, and just be as over the top ridiculous hero worship and just watch them implode. But I know deep down inside that that's not what they were really going for. I know that it's hero worship and celebrity worship and the cult of personality that is Donald Trump. But I want to believe that this was all a dig at the left.
If this were something organized on 4chan, that would be exactly what it was, just a troll. But yeah, I don't think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. And this was all just a big internet hoax, and everyone's just having a big laugh about it.
Mm-hmm.
But even so, one, it looks fucking terrible, and number two, there's some boomer that was walking around that convention was like, oh, a golden statue of Trump, fuck yeah, and just loved the shit out of that thing. And it's funny too, because Donald Trump got up there and spoke, and he's going, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that, we need to do that, and this. I'm going, you were president like 2 months ago. Why didn't you do those things? Like, all these things that you're saying we need to do, you were the guy.
Yep, wedge issues, man. It's all wedge.
You were sitting in the chair. You had a Republican House and a Republican Senate, and you couldn't get this shit done. It's why I keep saying Donald Trump is by far the most inefficient president of my lifetime, at least. Couldn't get any of his stuff done. Right? None of it. He couldn't get any of his, like, the biggest thing Donald Trump accomplished was a tax cut. Like, congratulations. You do what every Republican president does.
Yep.
You sign a tax cut, and that's about it. Like, I feel like if you leave office, you no longer get to talk about all the stuff we should do unless, like, 8 years have passed. Like, if it's 2 months out of your presidency, you shouldn't be going up there and being like, this is what we got to do, guys. We got to do this, 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 and this. And, like, you were the guy, and you didn't do any of that. So, sorry, I don't want to hear it from you.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, I think he's probably angling for a 2024 run Yeah, as much as I love to see the left have a meltdown over this guy, I don't want him to run in 2024. I would much rather him use his star power, for lack of a better term, to, you know, put some some meat on the bones of some candidates that might be more in line with, his vision. Like you said, he didn't get much done because he had opposition from even within the Republican Party, and the establishment Republicans were almost as stacked against him as the Democrats were. So, he could do a lot better to get the things that he wanted done now if he were to go out and campaign for congressional and Senate candidates that were more in line with what he wanted to get done than as the president at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing about people that want him to run again. It would be hilarious to happen. But let's be real, guys. That opposition he got that prevented him from doing his thing in his first term, that wouldn't magically go away if he got elected again. All you would get is 4 more years of Donald Trump not getting anything done. That's what would happen if you had elected him a second time. I have no confidence that if Donald Trump somehow managed to get elected in 2024, that he'd be more effective in his second term than he'd be in his first.
No, especially with the incumbency rate that a lot of incumbents are blessed with, like a 96% re-election rate in their districts.
Yep. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Speaking of which, though, Joe Biden finally popped that presidential cherry and bombed Syria. So that was fun.
Oh, that didn't take long, did it?
No, it's funny because I listened to Ben Shapiro's show the day after it happened. I wanted to see what his perspective of, and his perspective was, man, we really should have bombed the guys in Iraq, not Syria. Like they're just trying to they're bombing the guys in Syria, not Iraq, because they don't want to put their new Iran nuclear deal in peril. And like, wow, dude, you're the first guy I heard talk about this who's upset because we bombed the wrong country. It's like, not whether we should bomb or should not bomb, but you wanted to bomb Iraq and we bombed Syria. Bad, Joe Biden. Bad.
And what would be the point of bombing Iraq anymore? We have troops stationed there. That's it. The whole, from what I understand, the bombing in Syria was done on Iranian-backed militias, anyways. So,
well, there's Iranian-backed militias in Iraq too.
Yeah.
They're all over the place. Every bad guy we bomb is somehow, some way connected to Iran. And which means we just anything Iranian related, we have to just destroy for some reason.
But not destroy it completely or effectively.
No, just enough. And remember, Iran is only 2 years from a nuclear bomb now. So we gotta get on that. We gotta get on that and make sure that they never get the bomb.
Right. For the last 50 years, Iran has only been 2 to 5 years away from a nuclear weapon.
Iran has been on the cusp of having a nuclear weapon since I was a small child. And here I am, a full-grown adult with small children of my own. And I'm sure when they are my age, Iran will still be 2 to 5 years away from a nuclear bomb, unless the neocons get their wish and we actually invade Iran between now and then. God help us if that actually happens.
Yeah, that would be a nightmare, because Iran actually has a military that's capable of fighting back.
Well, yeah, they do. It would be fucking terrible. And if we decided to go to a war with Iran, all those troops we got in Iraq, sorry, you're the sacrificial lamb to the neocons. Lindsey Graham would appreciate your sacrifice very much.
Oh yes, I'm sure that he would be the first one to shed a single solitary tear as he lays a wreath on the tomb of the unknown soldier or something symbolically, or whatever. What's
that line from Shrek where it goes, "Some of you may die. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make."
Yeah. Any type of invasion of Iran would be for the troops in Iraq would be the same as the troops in South Korea if anything popped off with North Korea.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, those troops ain't lasting more than 15 minutes. You know, there's enough ordnance pointed at Seoul, South Korea, to level it almost instantaneously.
Yeah, all those troops on the border are really more of a speed bump. There's no actual expectation that they would actually turn back a North Korean attack. Their job is to hold it back long enough for reinforcements to come in from Japan.
Yeah.
That's
Australia.
the strategy. So
Yeah.
if you're in the Army or the Marine Corps and you get stationed to South Korea, just know that you're not expected to win. You're expected to just get to just be a big enough speed bump that it slows them down a little bit.
Yeah, that would be probably one of the only duty stations where I think I would actively maybe sharpen the edge of my E-tool just in case I ran out of ammunition and had to use that like an axe.
Oh yeah. Here's the thing. I was stationed in South Korea in Kunsan, which is on the southern part of the peninsula, in 2010. And that year there were a couple incidents that had everybody freaking out. All right, you had a North Korean mini sub sunk a South Korean fishing ship. And also there was this sparsely populated island claimed by South Korea that the North Koreans shelled. And everyone fucking freaked out about it. And that thought was going through my mind like, shit, we really are just a speed bump here. God damn it. Now, being in the very southern part of the peninsula, I'd probably be okay because of all those poor suckers in the Marine Corps and Army up north. They'd probably, do their job and slow down the North Koreans long enough to get reinforcements in. But if they didn't, it's like, oh, this would be a bad situation. I mean, let me check my gas mask again just to make sure that it's okay.
Yeah, I never got to be stationed in Korea, but some of the stories that some people have told me up there is fucking wild.
Oh, Korea's nuts.
Yeah,
Korea is it's different than any other. Well, I can't speak for like Army bases or Marine Corps bases or anything like that. But in the Air Force, it's unique because it's a remote tour. You do a year there. There's no families, right? No families in Kunsan. So everybody there is single, essentially, right?
wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
There's no cars, there's no driving around, and nobody has a cell phone, right? It's like you get transported. It's like you're going to college in the 90s is what being stationed at Kunsan's like.
Yeah, Ben just typed in the Army has a saying that the best way to make E5 is to go to Korea as an E6. Yeah. Some of the shit that people that I was stationed with, because I guess some of the bases in Korea are like sister stations with my old duty station in Fort Stewart. So there were a lot of people going back and forth between Korea and Fort Stewart. And probably my favorite story about Korea was soju.
Soju's great.
Yeah, everybody that said that they got blitzed on soju, they told me it has no taste, it has no smell. You drink it, you drink it, you drink it, you drink it, and you feel nothing. And then you stand up, and then you fall down. It's like it has no effect on you until you stand up. And then the whole night goes away.
It's not that it has no taste. Like if you just drank straight soju, you definitely know you're drinking alcohol. Right? But they don't serve soju straight, right? Mm-hmm. It's always in like a fruity cocktail, right? Like that's always how it comes. Like I never had soju just straight soju. It always came in some kind of like strawberry soju, watermelon soju, this soju, that soju, right? And yeah, when you drink it that way, it doesn't taste like alcohol. It just tastes like you're drinking a lemonade, right? That's what it tastes like. And you can drink a whole lot of it. and it's not very well regulated in Korea, so you never quite know how strong it's gonna be. And yeah, that shit sneaks up on you. I've been hammered so bad on soju so many times. And the really shitty thing about it though is that the drinking age in Korea is 18. But the military, for some stupid reason, enforces the US's 21 rule. Right? So you got all these dudes going to Korea, and if you go out, they'll serve you alcohol. But if you get caught drunk, then you're out of there. They'll kick you straight out of the military for that, or at the very least demote you.
Yeah.
And in the Air Force, getting demoted is a much bigger deal than the Army, because they don't just give and take stripes away in the Air Force, right? If you lose a stripe, that's a really big deal.
Yeah. Yeah, I never had to deal with any of that. I was a good kid.
I was the apathetic one, right? I was always the guy in the corner, my arms crossed, going, "Man, this is such bullshit. What the fuck is this? Why are we doing this? What the fuck is all this?" There's always at least one of those guys, and that was me.
I was the guy that was like that, only I was much more loud about it.
I did the least amount of work possible. I skirted the rules as much as I possibly could. You know, because it is bullshit, man. I remember I had a 4th of July off once. I was stationed in England, and it was like my first 4th of July that I had off in years.
In England. Ironic.
I know, ironic, but they were having this big fireworks celebration at one of the other bases, and I was going to go over there and just, hang out, drink a little, have some fun, whatever. And then I'm walking around my dorms, and here comes this master sergeant, and he sees me. He's like, "Are you doing anything? Are you working soon?" I'm like, "No, it's my day off." "Not anymore. You're going to work traffic over at the fireworks show." Like, God damn it. I can't even enjoy a day off without you bastards coming knocking on my door. See, that's kind of bullshit that you deal with in the military. It's like your life is not your own, and it sucks, especially if you're libertarian minded. You're just sitting here going, "Oh God damn, why the fuck did I join this? Why am I here? Why am I doing this?"
Yeah, but before we can move on to some news, instead of reminiscing about our military days, one of the good things, people always talk about like the libertarian to alt-right pipeline. That's retarded, but there is a pipeline that exists between the military and libertarianism. You will find more veterans in libertarian circles than probably anywhere else. It's because we've seen how the sausage is made. We see the inefficiencies of government, and it jades you. It makes you cynical. It makes you despise the government in a way that normal civilian life can't.
Absolutely. You want to talk a little bit about Chris Cuomo now, because that guy's not having a good week.
No, he's not. Poor Nipple Rings Cuomo is definitely taking a beating over what is it? Sexual harassment, which is pretty lame considering that some of the things that he has done with the COVID patients into nursing homes. I guess the harassment or indecent exposure charge is a lot less than premeditated murder, so he's got that going for him.
Is it indecent exposure? Because all I've been reading is like he's inappropriate, makes crass jokes, a little bit of inappropriate touching, like just generally making his female staffers and people that work for him feel very uncomfortable. Well, he's a creepy dude.
He is. I say indecent exposure because that nipple ring picture of him like at the press conference where he's like leaning back with the white polo on, and you can
I remember that.
You can clearly see that the dude's got some barbells going through the nips, and
so weird. Like, why, dude? Like, his brother's Fredo, right? And that's not
Yeah.
him. That's his. That's Andrew Cuomo over at CNN, who, ironically enough,
No,
as
Andrew Cuomo's the governor. Chris Cuomo's the
oh,
CNN
I
anchor.
always get those two confused. They're, yeah, I can never keep them straight. But yeah, he ironically he was going on his show and saying, "Oh, I can't cover my brother because obviously he's my brother," which is kind of funny because he's been covering him this entire last year. That never seemed to be a conflict of interest that warranted, not talking about it. But now that it's a bad thing, now you can't talk about your brother anymore.
Yeah.
And it is kind of funny. It is kind of funny that it's this sexual harassment stuff that's getting him in the most trouble when it should be the thousands of people he killed by putting COVID positive patients in nursing homes.
Yeah, you would think, but this just goes to reinforce my theory that he's being thrown to the wolves for something that's not going to get him in a lot of trouble, but they're going to make a whole lot of flash and noise about it, and it's going to be out there to kind of placate the plebes to make them think that, oh wow, the government can hold itself accountable. Meanwhile, you got 15,000 dead grandmas and grandpas in nursing homes, and I think some inappropriate jokes and touching of your campaign staff is probably the least of the shady shit that this guy's up to.
Yeah, but at the same time, getting him on this sexual harassment stuff is not an indictment of the Democrats' overall policy decisions during COVID. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you get him on the lockdown stuff, if you get him on his policy of throwing elderly positive COVID patients into nursing homes, then what you're doing is indicting the entire Democratic establishment for the way they handled the COVID crisis. Right? Because this was the golden child of the Democrats for the last year. Right? This guy won a goddamn Emmy for his news briefings. For Christ's sake. I mean, this is the guy that they held up as the pinnacle, the best governor in America. Right? A bunch of Democrats are even talking about how sexy this man was. It's like complete sycophants. All of them. So the story breaks about how he treated, how he handled the COVID crisis, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, oh, he's a sexual harasser, throwing everybody off the scent of how this guy completely botched COVID, and how Democratic states in general have completely botched COVID. Meanwhile, Texas just announced, hey, we're lifting all restrictions. All of them. No more restrictions at all, which is kind of funny for us living in Nebraska because we haven't had any restrictions this whole time. And nobody paid attention to us. Like, we've just been doing our thing this entire time, no problems. And Texas, they're like, oh, we're lifting all restrictions. Like, you guys have restrictions? Man. Texas. What's going on, Texas?
You. Sucks to be you.
At least they don't live in New York with Governor Fredo hanging over their heads.
Yeah, and you're right about the political misdirection thing. They're gonna nail him on this sexual harassment stuff, and that will be all that anybody remembers. The nursing home thing is swept under the rug. The lockdowns swept under the rug. The selective enforcement for vocal bar owners or whatever swept under the rug. All of the corruption and everything, nobody's going to remember that. They're just going to remember that Andy Cuomo groped an intern or something stupid like that. That'll be his legacy. He'll resign in a moderate amount of shame, but not really, and that'll be all that it is. And it's kind of the same thing with that Deputy Secretary of Health and Human Services that Rand Paul grilled. Everybody wants to focus on, it's the first transgender cabinet member, blah blah blah. The left sees that as the right sees that as being like some delusional tranny weirdo, and nobody's talking about the fact that this person did the exact same thing with the nurse, put COVID positive patients into nursing homes, but only after he moved his own mother out of one.
misgendering, cancel this man. How dare you, Hobbs?
How dare I?
How dare you? You're just so insensitive. But yeah, it's funny. I even see libertarians doing this, right? There's, oh, how dare you? How dare you speak up against this person? They're transsexual or transgendered or whatever. I don't know.
Whatever.
I don't care. There's something, and you can't speak up against them. This is an historic moment. Of course, forgetting the fact that this person probably should be in jail for what they did to nursing homes in their own state. Like, wow, thanks a lot. Now you're going to put them in. Now you're going to put them at the head of a federal agency. Thanks. That's just what we need.
Yep. Yeah. Barack Obama started the whole like historic firsts as being the primary indicator of fit for certain office. You know, it's like, ooh, first black president. I don't care about his qualifications or his competency. First black president. Ooh, first female vice president. I don't care that she sucked dick to get to the top. First female president or vice president.
Hey, you're not allowed to say that, man.
I will say
it's very misogynistic and racist and probably homophobic and Islamophobic as well. How, I don't know, but somehow it is.
It's all of the istophobic phobophobes.
All of the things. You know what else is all of the phobes? Dr. Seuss, apparently. Have you heard about this? How apparently the organization in charge of Dr. Seuss's estate is going to stop selling some of his books because apparently they hold racist stereotypes. I want to know what the cat in the hat, what stereotype that is. What do you think? You see, that's the thing. If you answer the question, you're a racist.
Yeah, you heard those dog whistles. Yeah, I don't know. This whole Dr. Seuss crap thing just kind of snuck up on me towards the end of my workday, so I didn't get to look into it. I don't even know which 6 books they've decided to cancel, so I don't have a whole lot of information on it. All I know is that this is probably going to be something like an unkind depiction, or perhaps even like the way that some people say that fantasy depictions of races like orcs and goblins are somehow supposed to be black people or something. It's like, I didn't notice that.
That's pretty racist, dude. Like, I've seen people say that before. It's like, really? You see these evil fantasy races and you just immediately assume they're black people? That's pretty shitty of you, dude. Why would you come to that conclusion? And yeah, it's probably the same thing with Dr. Seuss. I haven't looked into like which specific books they're going after, but this is coming on the heels of the Mr. Potato Head no longer being a Mr. Potato Head, just being Potato Head now. So taking on the important issues of our time.
Oh yes, instead of Mr. Potato, it is now gender neutral tuber character.
Well, I guess, I mean, that's not the most important issue of our time. Probably the bombing of Syria is, but you know how it is. You get these stupid little cultural moments that are just so absurd. You can't help but comment and laugh at them.
Yeah, you really have to laugh to keep from crying.
Yeah, poor Mr. Potato Head. Just for you guys to know, Toy Story is now canceled. So I'm looking forward to that.
Well, Toy Story should have been canceled a long time ago for the heteronormative depictions of cisgendered, traditional male-female gender roles in Woody and Miss Bo Peep's relationship.
I was waiting to see how many buzzwords you were going to be able to fit into that sentence. You got a fair amount. Good job.
I tried to get them all.
No, you forgot white supremacy, systemic racism, hierarchy. You didn't say the word hierarchy at any point, so I'm gonna have to dock you for that.
Yeah, there definitely was a hierarchy and a power struggle.
You did say heteronormativity, though, so I'm gonna give you credit for that. That's a hard one to fit in there.
Yeah, it's a big one. It's a nice buzzword. I like it. It's a $10 word.
Heteronormativity. Man, how much do you think you'd win a Wheel of Fortune guessing that one?
Fuck Wheel of Fortune. Talk Scrabble.
Yeah. Heteronormativity. That'd be a tough one. All right, we're gonna wrap it up there, guys. Hobbs, you got anything?
Hey
coming
Nathan,
this
I got
Friday?
something to add.
All right, producer Ben.
The month is over, so we had, we were doing the shirt drawing. If you went to the YouTube page,
Oh yeah.
we ended up with 26 people that entered. So I used a D20 and a D6 to find the winner, and it ended up being Apsalar. So if he watches this, I'll send you a message on YouTube, or you can reach out to us. And their favorite was the Build or Die Igloo shirt.
That is
a good one.
So Apsalar was the winner. Thanks for everybody that signed up, though. I was surprised we had that many.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And I put in the people that couldn't follow directions too. So
yeah, I'm seeing a couple of new commenters over here on the YouTube. Of course, we got Scuba Guy 007. That's Gary down in Georgia. He's friends. He tries to make our show, so always good to see Gary over there. SB Tripod. That's a new guy. So shout out to you.
SB Tripod entered too. So
he's the one that suggested we make a new shirt that says ATF are the statiest of the status.
Yeah, we'll have to get on a design for that.
I like that one. I might buy that one myself.
Yeah.
All right. Well, congratulations to the winner. Hobbs, do you got anyone coming on Friday?
I haven't heard back from that guy yet. I'm going to maybe try and send another email off as soon as we get off here to somebody else that I'd like to interview, but I don't have a whole lot of hopes because he's kind of a busy guy.
All right. Sounds good. Well, keep us informed. That's going to be it for us, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and tune in next week, 9 p.m. Central, for another episode of the Token and Hobbs Show. Peace.